right, we're here this morning with Jim Keys, and I've just got to read this because it's better than I could ever put it. So Jim Keys is a global business leader, philanthropist, educator, artist, musician, commercial pilot, modern Renaissance man, and he is the former CEO of two recognized Fortune 500 companies, 7-Eleven Inc. and Blockbuster Inc. Man, that's quite the resume, man. Thank you for being here, Jim.
You forgot best-selling author.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's soon to be. That's right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you.
Thanks for coming over and being a part of what we're doing here. You've been so gracious and the time with us, time on the phone, and just getting to know you. So thanks for coming.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, our luncheon's going to they're going to enjoy today a lot with you. So wanted to ask you, number one, I always love to know where people are from, kind of your growing up, and give us a little background on that, if you would.
Sure. Well, I grew up in Massachusetts. I like to say, as many do, I got to Texas as soon as I could.
And you've been here how many years?
Almost 40 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
First in Houston, and then eventually ended up in Dallas. I've been in Dallas for probably a good 38, 40 years, something like that.
All right.
But very different kind of growing up in central Massachusetts.
Okay.
People don't think of Massachusetts as rural, but if you get outside of Boston, about 40 miles, it gets really rural, really fast.
Yeah, you don't think of it, you think of the South as being more rural, but
right. But not many of my friends down here grew up like I did, without running water, with an outhouse and a pump.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally no plumbing inside. And,
wow.
It was a bit challenging in the winter with 3 feet of snow and a trudge to the outhouse.
Yeah, it's a little different than South Georgia or here in Texas in the winter. So, man, that's quite a trip from there to where you are now. So,
it's been quite a journey,
and I know that's helped you along the way. I'm sure, just to understand people, understand life, be able to relate to people.
It has. I actually spoke to a group of students at South Oak Cliff High School last week. And I didn't think they would really care a lot about what I had to say, because it's pretty tough, talking to high school students. But I think they could, in their own way, relate to the adversity that I faced as a child. Sure. And my message being primarily to these kids in South Oak Cliff that, hey, that was my superpower. Growing up with them, all of these negative things that were thrown at me as a kid ended up giving me an incredible amount of strength and resilience.
Boardroom was nothing after that, right?
Oh, piece of cake. They have bathrooms, indoor bathrooms in the boardroom.
We're good. Anything above that, you're icing on the cake, right?
Exactly.
Well, tell me, how'd you get your start? I mean, going from rural Massachusetts to the CEO of Blockbuster and 7-Eleven, that's quite the journey. So how'd you get started?
I like to call it the American dream, because in many ways it was. No one in my family had gone to school. We grew up in a very typical factory town where the expectation was hopefully you would finish high school, but if not, neither of my parents graduated from high school. I think my dad dropped out in the 6th grade and got a job and then went to war. And his advice to me was, he would say, son, I don't know what to tell you, but they can take your money, they can take your house, they can take your things, but no one can take what you know. Wow. And so my advice is, please don't pursue the life I have, because it's hard. Yeah. And I am lacking freedom.
Education, right.
Not money.
Right.
He never really cared about money, but he cared about freedom. And
and money used correctly gives you more freedom.
Sure.
Used correctly, right?
Sure. But it's also a trap. And I see so many friends, and I've been on the hamster wheel.
Sure.
Thinking it's all about, I've got to make more money. I've got to make more money. It's really just a way of keeping score. And yes, it comes with some freedom, but it's not the end game.
Right.
The end game is to have the life you choose to have with the people you choose to be with.
That's true freedom.
Exactly. Yeah. That's true freedom.
Right.
Doesn't matter how much money you have. You can be poor and still free.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And I equate it to, the more you know, the more freedom you can enjoy.
Well, most people would not know that about you in terms of where you come from and the background, or, I know your close friends would, but most people assume CEO of Blockbuster. Well, he grew up with this or that, but you've come a long way. That's fantastic. And you can probably enjoy it more coming that way.
I think I am blessed with a healthy dose of gratitude,
Right.
because, and maybe a little extra humility, because I know where I came from. So
Right.
I can't get too full of myself.
No, that's good.
But yeah, and it's in so many ways it really is a blessing when we're in the middle of a crisis, whether it's growing up, whether it's the adversity we face as a child. When we're in the middle of that crisis, I too felt the woe is me. Why me, Lord? Why do I have to deal with this stuff? What did I do wrong? Right? All of those things that you go through. But at the end of the day, what I discovered is that my faith would always carry me through.
Right.
And however dark that storm, that cloud, on the other side was always in my life, something good that would come of it. So it's a matter of how to respond to the change, not the change itself that
not
occurs.
becoming a victim to it, but continue to hold on and trust the Lord.
Exactly.
And,
works.
Tell us three to five, or not even 3 to 5. Just give us a couple of things that you've learned along the way in terms of leadership, because, like I say, you've come a long way. So there's a number of things probably you learned early on, but some things that you would pass on to next generation leaders.
Well, I'll share a gift that I think I have, and if you're ready, if you want to go into it, I'll share a gift that was given to me by the Lord.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Love it.
All right. Well, this may or may not be believable, but it doesn't matter, because I believe it.
Yeah,
so.
You lived it, right?
I lived it. So here's what happened. So shortly after being named chief executive, 7-Eleven, relatively young guy, charge of a global enterprise all over the world, 400,000 domestic employees. I suffered from the same thing we all do, a little bit of imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm the dog that caught the car. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
Am I worthy? Can I do this?
Right.
And I had a dream, and sound asleep, early morning. Those early morning dreams that you kind of awake, half awake.
Yeah.
And that's when I have some of my best dreams.
Right.
And those are the ones you remember, because then you wake up.
You're halfway awake.
Halfway awake. Yeah. So I have one of these dreams. Only this dream was incredibly real and incredibly powerful. And those out-of-body experiences that people describe when they've had a near-death experience.
Right.
Some people have a car crash or a heart attack, and there's an amazing and a beautiful commonality to every one of those stories.
Yep.
They all feel the incredible power, presence of whatever their religion, of a being.
Right.
And they all feel an incredible white light and overwhelming feeling of love.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Very consistent story. So I have this in a dream, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, did I die in my sleep? What happened? This is what I hear happens when you die. And I don't have time to even think about it, because I'm being told I have a gift for you. And to get this gift, I'm going to ask you to perform 3 missions, 3 things. And I said, yeah, please. I want the gift. Please. I'll do it. I don't know what I have to do, but if I have to change, I'll do anything I have to do. And before I even set out on the first mission, I had passed the first test.
Wow.
Change. I was willing to change.
Yeah.
I was willing to embrace change. Second test. Again, now I'm really troubled because I'm not sure what to do. And I had to come back without really anything performed to accomplish the second. And I said, but trust me, I can do this.
Right.
Whatever it is. I don't know how, but I said I would change, and I have the confidence that I can do this. And again, I passed the second test. Yeah. The third was now a little more complex. I was asked to create something, build something. Here are 2 sticks. I want you to create something that will change the world. And now I'm in trouble. First two were easy.
With
right?
2 sticks.
With 2 sticks. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
So what do we do as business people, especially? Our mind starts worrying and we're overcomplicating, and I'm thinking about cutting and bending and gluing. And
Right.
what can I do? And I don't know the rules. Well, I finally give up and I take the 2 sticks and I bring them back and I put them in the sign of a cross.
Wow.
And I said, this is a simple solution,
Right.
but it's a solution that has the power to change the world.
And is universal.
And is universal.
Yeah.
Again, warm, almost if you can imagine what a spiritual hug would be,
Right.
this overwhelming feeling of joy and love. And I passed the 3rd test.
Right.
And the 3rd test was clarity or simplicity.
Okay.
And now I wake up and I'm going, oh, no, I can't wake up. And I try to fall back to sleep like you do when there's early morning dreams. I want to finish this dream. I want to get my gift. And so I can't go back to sleep. So I jump out of bed and I write down these 3 things. I've got to remember these at least.
Yeah.
Change, confidence, clarity. And I didn't know what to do with this. So I lean over, I shake my wife, wake her up.
Yeah.
I said, what? And I said, no, I've got to tell you.
How long you'd been married by then?
By then, probably 10 years.
Okay.
Long enough for her to be annoyed.
That's right. Exactly.
But so I wake her up and now I've got tears in my eyes because this was such a powerful experience. And I said, you've got to help me understand this. I wrote down these 3 words. I don't know what they mean. Change, confidence, clarity. What the heck does this mean? Yeah. And I missed getting my gift. What was this dream all about? Help me understand. And she said, duh.
Yeah.
How do you think you got to where you got from where you came from?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have an amazing ability to embrace change and turn catastrophic, horrible things that happen to you into opportunity.
Right.
You have a weird sense of confidence that you can do anything. It's just a matter of learning, and that you think you could be an astronaut if you spent enough time focusing on learning how to be an astronaut or a doctor or whatever you want to be. And then finally, you're not really that smart, Jim.
Wow.
That's wives can tell you this stuff, right? Yeah. You're not really that smart, but what you have is an uncanny sense of taking very complex, difficult issues, situations, puzzles, and breaking them into simple terms that you can understand, and then you are able to explain those to other people. I love to quote Einstein. He says, if you don't understand something well enough to explain it to a 6-year-old, then you don't really understand it.
Wow.
And she explained that those 3 things, she said, that is your gift. That's how you got to where you got.
The 3 things were the gift, right?
The 3 things were the gift. And it was a recognition that is the gift that now I was also told this is a gift that you have to give to others. You have to share this gift. And so I have, since that happened. Oh, and by the way, it's a trivial little part of the story, but it happened to be Christmas morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goosebump time, right? Yeah. Seriously. And I was told that this is a gift that you should give to others. You should share. And so I have been, since that time, some 30 years ago, I have been teaching it to employees, to my team members, family members, when I've talked to students all over the world.
Right.
I teach these 3 principles of success in both life and in school and in career.
And people, you've recently done a little podcast, and that's people have latched onto that. I mean,
they have.
And it was, it's something that people have latched onto, and it has been a gift to them. So that's fantastic.
Well, you mentioned that. I'll share that, these things, I don't think anything happens by coincidence. I think I've led a blessed life, and, the power of the Holy Spirit's pretty amazing sometimes, but I did this podcast, and it wasn't even a podcast. It was the intro to a podcast.
Okay.
So a young man put a microphone in front of me, said, let's just do a couple of blurbs and ask a couple of questions as a teaser to the podcast. Yeah. And he said, what's the key to success? And I shared those 3 things: change, confidence, clarity.
Right.
Gave a little story behind that one video now, 35 million and counting.
That is amazing.
And it's still out there. I've gotten people from all over the world, from China, from Australia. I'm speaking in Australia in a couple of weeks. I'm going to Kuwait. Kids, then these are young people.
From Fort Worth, Texas to Kuwait. I mean, that's amazing.
It's incredible. Yeah. But it's the power. It's the power of learning.
Right.
If you've got something that people can learn, all this fear of social media, kids will adopt.
Yeah.
They'll adopt learnings if it's of substance.
Hopefully it's of the right kind of education. So you've written this new book, Education is Freedom. I'm sure that's part of the book. Tell me a little bit about the book and why you're passionate about education. Of course, now knowing your background, I didn't know this before the podcast. I mean, you see that it's brought freedom to you, and so the background is probably lent into that a lot. But give us a little more about the book itself.
Sure, yeah, it was absolutely my path from what was, I didn't know at the time, but poverty to the boardroom, basically, and it all came down to education, learning, and I'll share another story with you. I was walking across campus. This is the origin of the name of the book, actually. I was walking across campus one day. I'm going back. I had the privilege of going to graduate school at Columbia University. Right. So come out of Columbia, get an internship with a major oil company, end up in Texas, end up at 7-Eleven, fly through the ranks, end up as CEO. Well, I am invited to Columbia to speak to the students about leadership. And I'm walking across campus, and I'm dressed in a suit and a tie, big contrast from the kid that was there who could barely afford topsiders. Right. And I see a kid walking toward me looking like I looked when I was there.
Sure.
Pretty bedraggled and tired.
Right.
And he's got an armful of books, and he's got a T-shirt on. And his T-shirt said those 3 words: education is freedom. Young African-American kid looks at me. I looked at him. I said, "You have no idea."
Right.
You have no idea.
He had no idea where you'd come from.
I know. I was like, that is me. That is my story. And I hope it's your story.
Right.
And I went into that class, and I told those students something that really is one of those moments in your life when you have one of those aha experiences. I went in that class and said, I thought I was done. I came out of here, I had a graduate degree, I had a master's degree. Never thought I'd have a master's degree. So I thought I was done. I saw a T-shirt this morning that reminded me.
Yeah.
That degree was a license to learn.
And that was right before you went to speak, huh?
Was.
That's amazing.
Was. And I told these kids, your degree doesn't mean you're done. It's a license to learn.
Right.
It's got a tool set, and you have to keep learning. And the more you keep learning, the more you can do.
And learning and education, learning and school are sometimes not the same thing.
Exactly.
Learning, you've got to, it's something that goes deep within. So,
exactly.
You and I talked a little bit. There's been a backlash, somewhat of a backlash against higher education, saying, hey, why do we need it? It's a waste of money, waste of time. You get out, you have this big loans. And I know those are real issues. I mean, we can't kind of skirt some of those issues, but you see it a little differently. And you see it as that could lead to some bad consequences going forward. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do. And I'm a big fan of guys, Mike Rowe, the TV guy, I'm a big fan of his. He's a great guy. And he's been out for years touting the importance of vocations. And look,
but that's education, right?
Great. It's still education. I have great respect for vocations. But then you've got guys like Peter Thiel, a tech exec, and he's saying, just say no to college. And he put a bounty out there. It's $100,000, but you don't need to go to school. Be a tech entrepreneur. But that's like Michael Jordan saying, just go play basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at me. I did it. You can do it.
Yeah.
And so here's what it comes down to. I want to unpack a couple of these.
No, that's great.
These, because I think it's a dangerous narrative. First of all, let's talk about the cost. It's expensive, right?
Right.
In $1980, I was looking at $10,000 a year. It was unachievable because I was making $1.25 at McDonald's. Right. And in today's dollars, that $10,000 a year for room, board, and tuition is $60,000 or $50,000.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, like everything else, the price of education has gone up. So have salaries. We weren't making
Sure.
10, 15, $20 an hour back then for hourly jobs. But then today, the other difference is that there are massive endowments. My little school didn't have an endowment in 1980.
Right.
Today, it has an endowment of over $1 billion. And the discount rate on that sticker price for tuition is 47%.
So
that means nobody's really
25,
paying.
30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so very few people are really paying the $80,000 ticket sticker price. Now, if someone comes over from China and their parents can afford it,
right,
they're going to pay the full boat. So it's a myth that college is unrealistically expensive. So here's another way of looking at it. If people don't want to run the numbers and do the math themselves and take the dollars and bring them back to 1980,
sure,
I'll give you another way of looking at it. Any business investment, we're all business people. Well, not all of us, but many of us are business people.
Right.
We make investments in things. What's the first thing we do? We run a net present value of future cash flow in streams, right? And we discount it back to today's money. And we'd never make an investment based on today's dollars and today's returns. We base it on future income streams.
Right.
Discounted. And so why don't we do that for education?
Meaning what you're going to earn because you have an education as opposed to what you would not earn.
It's an investment in yourself that pays dividends for the rest of your life. And if you really run the numbers on the potential of somebody with a college degree, and I know some people get a degree in basket weaving or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still a degree that does mathematically, statistically generate over a lifetime at least $1 million incremental earning potential for the person with that degree. And there are so many other benefits. I mean, I just read an article in, I think it was Forbes, that showed the life expectancy of college graduates versus non-college graduates. And it's something like 8 years. Don't you want to live 8 years longer?
Right.
Now, it's not directly correlated, of course, but it comes with a different lifestyle, different behaviors, different ways of eating, et cetera, et cetera. And so net, all of this noise about college isn't the right thing anymore. Maybe not. College is not for everyone.
Right.
But opportunity is.
Right.
We should never discourage opportunity.
And when you say the trades and all of those, I mean, that's not traditional, but you still have to learn. You're still growing. You're still, so it's the learning part of it that brings freedom.
Absolutely.
The piece of paper, certainly, it does give you, opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Sure.
So,
well, let me give you one of those trades that people are thinking in today's dollars and today's terms. So one of those trades, I'm a pilot. I love to fly.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing what I do, I could be a professional pilot. If I was a child today, I'd be really tempted because a pilot can go out and make $100,000, $150,000 a year pretty quickly. Now, here's the problem with that. We are rapidly moving down a path. I fly my jet today, single pilot.
Yeah.
Don't need two pilots anymore.
Wow.
Pretty soon, and the technology is here today for that aircraft to auto land.
Yeah.
And that's coming. So autonomous aircraft is a thing. And in 20 years, if you get your pilot's license thinking I'm going to make $150,000 and you don't at least have an associate's degree or something else to fall back on. Right. Optionality. You may find yourself having technology truly displacing your job.
Right.
Your job. And
that's where the change comes back in, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So it's all about optionality, being able to deal with change and being able to pivot.
Right.
Whenever change happens, to be able to find
able to do something different.
Do something different. Right?
With that being said, with the next generation of leaders that are coming up, and you've already touched on this a little bit, but what's some advice that you would give to a 20-something now? Education, of course. What's some other things you would say to this next generation?
I think the biggest killer of careers, of companies, sadly, of societies, is fear.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And it's worse now than I've seen it in my life.
And ironically, we live in the most affluent time, probably in American history and in a world history, and where the fear is all around.
All around. You turn on any social media channel, you turn on every TV channel, it's a fire hose of fear.
Yeah.
They're coming to get you.
Yeah.
They're going to take your stuff.
I know.
Somebody's going to get something that you don't have, and they're going to benefit and you're not. It's such irrational fear. So I tried to research this for the book because I've seen it kill careers. And if I go back to that embracing change thing and having confidence, I realized that my success came from being able to overcome fear.
Right.
And maybe it was, I had so much, as you said, I had so much adversity as a child. It was like, what are they going to do to me in a boardroom? They can't really hurt me, right?
Well, and that is the secret sauce in some ways, because fear, you'd already dealt with your fear probably early on in some ways.
Yeah. But I've got the antidote to it. And I literally, I had to research this for the book because I was trying to figure out I can't just say fear's bad for you. I've got to be able to show how to overcome it.
Yeah.
So I started looking at history and what caused fear. And it goes all the way back, believe it or not, to our caveman brain, because we had to have fear. There's a portion of our brain that triggers the fight or flight response. And unfortunately, today in a world with no natural predators, that impulse is still there.
Yeah, you gotta create it somehow.
And what happens is it comes out in the boardroom. So irrational behavior, people fighting in a boardroom over what? Over nothing, or in Congress.
And
it happens and you go, look, really step back from this. What are we afraid of that we can't solve?
Yeah.
There's really not that much. And so we've got to be able to suppress that natural instinct to fight or flight. And how do you do that? I'm going to quote Yoda. Seriously, I could actually quote an ancient Greek philosopher, but Yoda people pay more attention to.
That's right.
Yoda, when he was teaching young Luke, said, Luke, ignorance leads to fear. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to violence.
Yeah.
How do you get rid of fear? Reverse that cycle of fear, anger, violence? Knowledge.
Understanding.
The light.
Yeah, right.
The force in his case.
Right.
Faith.
Sure.
Right? So a combination of faith and knowledge. What are we afraid of?
Right.
That's what our faith is all about.
Sure.
And knowledge is like turning on a light when you're a kid in the dark. You turn on the light, you go, oh, I don't have anything to be afraid of. Good. Mom, you can go back to bed.
Yeah.
That's what knowledge is. So the more we learn and the stronger our faith, the less we have to fear. And if we can overcome that fear, then anything is possible. We replace fear with hope and opportunity.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. And tell us a little bit, how can we get one of your books and order it on Amazon like most people, but
well, they're available in Barnes and Noble, Hudson's Book now, and in the airports. It's fun to see your own book.
Yeah, that's great.
It's really very humbling. It's like, oh wow, look at that.
Yeah,
I've actually signed a couple and stuck them back in the rack.
That's great.
I'm hoping that somebody.
Hey, what are you doing over there?
Yeah. No, I was afraid I was going to get kicked out of one. Yeah. Hey, don't disfigure that book.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, they can buy them in bookstores. Amazon's the easiest. Amazon.com. And I have a request though. I do hope people will buy the book. I've got lots and lots of stories and lots of these, sort of secrets to learning and secrets to success. But what I really hope for this book, I don't want it to be a book that you buy and stick it on the shelf.
Sure.
I want it to be given, because I wrote this for those people that are struggling, to give them the gift that I've been blessed with.
Right. And
I want others to give that gift. So I hope you'll buy the book, but pay it forward and give it to someone else. And then ask them when they're finished,
pay it forward again.
Please give it to someone else, because there's always someone who needs it.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for being here. We're going to be here every second Thursday in the spring and in the fall. Hope you'll join us for one of our Leader Exchange luncheons in the future.